Hey loves, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of this tutorial. I already have part 1 on the channel, which is the drafting of this top, and this is part 2, which entails the cutting and stitching of this particular top. So if you have already made your patterns, then let's get right into the cutting and the stitching. So this is the fabric I'll be using. It's a fabric from an old project that I took apart and want to make something useful out of it. It has been there for a while now, so I thought this is the best opportunity to use it. So I'll lay all my patterns and cut them out and then see how much fabric I have left. So if I don't have enough fabric to make the sleeve, then I have to think of something else. So I'll be cutting 4 pieces of each of the patterns except for the center front because that is on fold. And on this part of the pattern, I'll be adding 1/2 inch allowance because I couldn't add them on the pattern whilst I was making them. So once the 1/2 inch allowance is added, I'll go ahead and cut the pattern out. So this is the center front. Like I already said, I'll be cutting 2 pieces for this because it's on fold, and I would also add 1/2 inch allowance on this side so that I'll be able to stitch it to the other side of the front. I hope you understand this. And once the allowance has been added, I would go ahead and cut the pattern out. So this is what I have. You can see that we have now allowance on both sides, and I'll mark my notches so I know exactly where I would join them. So this is the fabric I have left, and like I already said, if I don't have enough fabric, then I would have to do something else. So I have other pieces of this fabric left, so I will try and see what kind of sleeves I will make out of them. And let me know in the comment section if you would like me to make a separate video making the sleeves for this particular top, because I don't want to use a different fabric to make the sleeve for this top. So this is the fabric I have, and it already looks like a flare sleeve, so I'll be making something out of this. So what I'm going to do now is to join the front pieces. So I would use one part of this as the lining piece and the other part as the fashion fabric. So I would iron an interfacing into the lining pieces, and then with the fashion fabric I'll just leave it like it is. So what I'm doing now is to just join the center seams of the front pieces together, making sure the notches are matching. I went ahead and stitched all the seams on the front pieces, and you can see that I also fused in an interfacing into the lining pieces. So what I'm going to do now is to snip the allowances on the front pieces because it's curvy, and once I snip it, it will give it that ease to just open up and make the seam so flattering. So what I'll do next is to take the seams to the iron and give it a nice press by opening them up. And also what I'll do for the lining part of the front is to stitch in a boning. So I have my stitch on boning. So what I'll do is to measure the size of that seam minus 1 inch, which is 1/2 inch allowance on the top and 1/2 inch allowance on the waist side, and then stitch it inside the seam. So this is what it looks like after ironing the seams. You can see that the shape came out so beautiful, and I have also stitched on my boning onto the lining part of the front piece. So what I'm doing now is to join the sides of the top, pin them, and then go ahead to my sewing machine and then stitch my 1-inch side seam allowance. So I'll do the same for the fashion fabric as well. These are the lining pieces. So this is what I have now after stitching the side seams, and what I'm going to do now is to create an armhole, just a small armhole for me to attach the sleeves when they are ready. So I would just go in about 1 inch down and then 1 inch on the side and then just cut it out. So I will do this for the lining piece and then use it to create it on the fashion fabric. I'm just using that as a guide. So this is what it looks like. And now what I'm going to do is to face the two pieces together, right sides facing. I'll go ahead and stitch all around without the armholes. And this is what I have, and before I will flip it inside out, I will go ahead and trim down the corners and also the V part of the top, so that once I turn it inside out, I'll have a very beautiful V there, and also the corners will come out so nice and sharp. Once I have that done, I will now flip my top inside out. And make sure not to stretch the armhole too much, else it's gonna look bigger than the other side because you're flipping it through only one side of the armhole. And also be patient because there is a boning inside the top. And once I'm able to flip it inside out, I'll use my scissors to push out the corners so they look sharp. So once this is done, I'll go over to the iron and give it a nice press, and this is how it looks. It looks so neat and beautiful. And then I'll later fix in my eyelet, but before I do that, I'll be working on the sleeve. I already showed you this fabric and I have two of them. So what I'll do is to use my serger to knit in the raw edges, and then on the upper side I'll fold in 1/2 inch like you see here, and then on the lower side I just folded in 1/4 inch just to finish it. And then on the upper side I'll be fixing in an elastic band like you see. That is why I folded in 1/2 inch. So what I did for the elastic band is to wrap it around my armhole and make sure it felt comfortable around it before cutting it. So I would just insert it into that channel there. And then once everything comes out, I would pin it and then go ahead to my machine and then stitch the two sides together. So I would do that also. I'll do the same thing on the other piece. And this is how the sleeves are looking like now. I guess I was creative at this, and what I'll be doing now is to now fix in my eyelet. So I would be using, I think, the yellow one. I had two choices. I wanted to use either the yellow or the blue one, but I went on with the yellow one because I wanted it to stand out on the fabric. But I thought the blue one would also look nice. But yeah, so what I'll be doing is to mark where I would like the eyelet to be. So it was 3/4 of an inch apart. And then once I have where I want to stick them, I will just create tiny holes with my scissors to enable me to fix the eyelet. So how to fix the eyelet? I'll just grab the eyelet and then push it through the hole that I created. And then there are 2 pieces of the eyelet, so I will grab the other flat piece and then put it on that thing over there, and then place the eyelet on the fabric on that one, and then use this metal thing to support it and then hit it with the hammer. But I wouldn't be doing it on the camera, because if I'm doing it here, I have the camera on the table which will be shaking. So I went ahead and fixed everything off camera, and this is how it looks. So now I would go back to my sleeves and fix it into the armhole. I will pin it up, take it to my sewing machine and stitch it. I'll do the same for the other side, and this is what it should be looking like. So I'll be using this ribbon to lace the back. I thought I had the same color, but unfortunately this is the only one that I had. So for the sake of this video, I'll be using this color for the lacing, and then I'll later on get a color that will match with this top. So I will now lace the back. So this is the end result of this top. I wish I could have made exactly the same sleeve as it was on the original top, but unfortunately my fabric wasn't enough, so this was what I ended up with. So this is the end result, and I will be trying it on for you guys to see. So this is what the top looks on, and I really love it. I think this sleeves also goes really well with it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. And this top came out really nice, and the back lacing is also nice. I thought the beige color would be really off, but I think it goes quite well with it. And also, like I said, I made the top of the length a little bit longer than the original top. So yeah, depending on the length you want, you can just adjust it to your preference. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you like this tutorial. Please like, comment and share, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.